Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and again, thank you for joining me today. Where I will be presenting and doing several episodes for the series of End of an Epoch. This episode is episode 2 of the New World Order, One World Government. I forgot to mention in the first video that none of the videos that I'll be putting out will be monetized. So this is free for service. For your information. Yeah. So I want to thank you again for joining me and for episode 2. So here we go.
We're undergoing a soft coup, and the idea is to create a whole new set of laws and ignore the existing human rights laws and other laws under the pretext of pandemic preparedness and the biosecurity agenda. The WHO is developing through all its nations, but with the WHO directorate in the United States in charge, a pandemic treaty and amendments to the existing international health regulations that will remove the human rights protections currently embedded in the IHRs, will enforce surveillance, censorship, get rid of freedom of speech, require governments to censor and only push a single narrative. Also, we will be subject, if they can make this work, to vaccines developed in 100 days.
As they've stated, they were working on laws to completely undermine all human rights here in America and abroad in other countries. You see that with the push for the digital ID in the UK. You see it here with Trump and his ICE administration. Regardless of how people feel about it, there are constitutional rights that we have here in America that you're not supposed to be able to be stopped without probable cause. You have the right to freely travel from one location to another without being ID'd, and many other rights and civil liberties that are being violated. Doesn't matter the cause, doesn't matter the reason, because if they can violate them for somebody that has a green card and works here because they're doing that, and yes, they're doing it for people who are supposed to be who are illegally here. I get that, but they're also going beyond that scope, and that's been proven. They've pushed. You can look it up. They have rewritten laws now to where they can deport legal and natural-born American citizens. Deport them where? I have no idea, because you're supposed to be deported to your home country. America would be your home country. But as stated in the video, that they're working to create laws to undermine human liberty and human rights. And with the COVID vaccine, that's one of the ways that they're doing it, because the Supreme Court ruled years ago that anything that has been taken from nature and altered can have a patent. Nature itself, what is found in nature and what is naturally occurring found in nature, cannot have a patent and cannot be owned by a person. But if you change that, like the mRNA, then you have a patentable product. And the mRNA has been proven, Sweden tested it, that it changes into DNA, and it replicates, and it can be passed on. And that is actually what this video talks about.
A little bit about the study that just came out of Sweden that is just so alarming.
The news is buzzing out of Lund University, Malmo, Sweden. Marcus Alden is the first author. The first demonstration in a human hepatic or liver cell line that the Pfizer vaccine, in fact, reverse transcribes and installs DNA into the human genome.
Wow. And so, in simple terms, what does that mean, Dr. Bartlett?
Thank you for making it simple. So, basically, there's an enzyme that can take that messenger RNA vaccine information and put it into the DNA of the person, into their DNA. And we were told that could not happen. So this is in a lab, but it's showing that you remember the vaccine is messenger RNA.
Yeah.
And we were told that messenger RNA could not go into your DNA, but this is showing that in a lab it can.
And so what happens when it does, Dr. Cole?
Well, can I answer slightly different than your question?
Yeah.
So one of the fun things about the last couple of years being a doctor and lawyer is this is a very interesting opportunity, and I think we're going to be bringing another lawsuit because there's actually federal law that you cannot discriminate against people for genetic discriminations. I forgot the acronym. I think it's GINA, G-I-N-A. GINA, right? So this now opens the door to saying that if you're not allowing somebody in who chose not to get the shot, that you're actually engaging in genetic discrimination. So I think this Sweden study, I think, opens the door to a new type of lawsuit.
If you're pregnant and you have this done, can that then affect your baby?
Yes, see, this is the alarming finding. The CDC says on its website very explicitly, this will not change your DNA. The paper that came out of Sweden. Now, there'll be many more to confirm it, and the steps are to confirm it, to confirm that the entire code is installed, and then to actually confirm that it's expressed, meaning that the spike protein now is continuously expressed from human cells. But because the lipid nanoparticles are taken up everywhere, that means somatic cells in your organs, but also your gametocytes, actually the cells that actually are the sperm and the egg. If they are carrying it, that indeed means that, in fact, it could be passed to the daughter cells.
So that could be open up for birth defects and
yes.
And a bit about this.
The mRNA gene therapy is also coming to your food supply market. As this article indicates, future vaccines may look more like eating a salad than getting a shot in the arm. So said the University of California Riverside Sciences in 2021, working to turn edible plants like spinach and lettuce into mRNA vaccine factories. You know, by our government talking about foods under application to be genetically modified to be able to become edible vaccines. Remember that the additives in the mRNA vaccines are by no means safe or proven. We don't even actually know what is in these shots, and there are numerous reports in the labs that they have examined, and the mRNA jabs still have not undergone long-term testing. I cannot 100% verify that it's true, but if someone has safely avoided being injected so far, this would be a nightmare scenario whereby someone's genes are potentially altered with factory foods without them even knowing. Mandatory vaccines are not about health but control. This violates your freedom of choice, because here in America you have a freedom of choice, you have a right to informed consent, you have a right to refuse medical treatment, and this violates all of those rights. When medical professionals violate your rights to informed consent and they violate the right to refuse the original Hippocratic oath of do no harm. They violate the original Hippocratic oath of doing no harm.
Now, the world today has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%.
Well, common sense would tell you if you have a man standing in front of you saying he's going to reduce the world's population by 10 or 15% using vaccines, what does that mean to you? It means somebody's going to die because you put a vaccine in them. It doesn't mean you're going to save people. That's pretty much common sense in my brain. But yet I saw him say it. He said it. And here we are. I don't know. Here we are. I'm now an anti-vaxxer. I wasn't before.
The Hippocratic Oath was an oath that doctors took that were more or less guidelines for them, doctors, physicians, in how they would operate as a health physician. What was originally in there has been replaced. Is in regard to healing the sick, I will devise an order for them to the best diet according to my judgment and means. I will take care that they suffer no harm or damage. Nor shall any man's entreaty prevail upon me to administer poison to anyone. Neither will I counsel my man to do so. Moreover, I will give no sort of medicine to any pregnant woman with a view to destroy the child. I will willingly refrain from doing any injury or wrong from falsehood in a special manner, from acts of amorous and nature. Words. But it has been replaced with, I will prevent disease wherever I can, for prevention is preferable to cure. I'm just going to let that resonate just for a second. Most especially must I treat with care in matters of life and death. If it is given me to save a life, all things. But it may also be within my power to take a life. This awesome responsibility must be faced with great humbleness and awareness of my own frailty. So, do no harm, no hurt or damage, not giving poisons. Completely taken out and replaced with, see if we can't prevent it, but if we can't, I mean, I can take life and I can kill you. I know that's not what it is. I'm paraphrasing in the worst possible way. But I think it's a good place to stop here. A couple arguing points I'd like to point out. So I do understand that that with the WHO and the regulations that Donald Trump has not just spoken out against them, but he has also backed out, and him and RFK have both shot down their vaccine treaty, which would have stripped America of its sovereignty if anything were to happen, which is great. What I do see him has replaced that is the legal setup for CBDCs, as well as what he's doing with ICE, just letting them violate everybody's civil liberties and rights. RFK has also spoken out against the WHO and its practices. He's also, I believe, filed lawsuits against Bill Gates for the food vaccines, which is great. Unfortunately, RFK is also in agreement with Bill Gates when he wants everyone by 2028 to have medical wearable devices, because in the WHO regulation in the vaccine treaty, the WHO also wanted people to wear these type of medical devices called wearables, as RFK has also put it, and this would regulate people's freedom of movement, disallowing them to move if they drive too much, if their carbon footprint is too high, and it'll be a vaccine passport as the WHO wants it to be. And I understand that it might not all roll out all at once, but eventually it will all come together as such. With the CBDCs, it's also a financial tracking system and allowing or disallowing you to use the money in your bank. There was a recent advertisement on Spotify about going bankless, that this is just another version of a cashless society that's trying to be new and hip to these policies, trying to trick people into becoming slaves to a digital currency, which that's what we'll be getting into the next episode. I'm going to go ahead and cut this one, but thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for being with me. Looking forward to putting out the next episode, episode 3. Please stay safe and be blessed. I hope God blesses you. In Jesus' name.